Introduction to Linux. So before going to Linux, let us know about the Unix operating system, because Linux is the flavor of Unix operating system. So this Unix operating system, it was developed by Dennis Rich. In 1970s. So he developed the Unix operating system with the help of total C program. With the help of C program, fully C program. So he has used to develop the Unix operating system. So previously this Unix was called UNICS, Uniplex Computing System. So UNICS means Uniplex Computing System. So later on, they named it as Unix operating system. So based on Unix operating system, there are many versions like Unix 1.0, 2.0, like that. Some versions came in after 1970s. So there are some concepts. There are concepts like multi-user multitasking. There are some problems in the multi-user concepts. So that's why later on, some people they have added some libraries to the Unix operating system and developed some more flavors. So here uh, we had some flavors of this Unix operating system. Those flavors are uh, Solaris, HP UX, IBM AIX, Linux. So some more flavors are there. So these are the basic flavors which are developed with the help of Unix kernel only. With the help of that, they have added some more libraries on that and developed other operating systems. So we are talking about this Linux. So this Linux, it is developed by Linus Torvald. Linus Torvald. Linus Torvald. That is in 1990s. 1990. With the help of his team, he developed this Linux operating system. So that's by Linus Torvald. So this is about the Linux. So that's why some people will be confused about Unix and Linux. And moreover, the Unix kernel, the commands, whatever we had, will be there in each and every flavor. So in Solaris also we will be having Unix commands. That Unix kernel will be there, and in HP UX also there will be Unix. Here also Unix, and in the Linux also we will be having Unix. For example, in Windows we have MS-DOS commands. Likewise, here in Linux we will be having Unix commands, because on the Unix only they have added some more libraries and they named it as Linux. So in each and every operating system, here these flavors, there will be Unix commands and its kernel also. Okay, so it is about Linux. So here in the Linux also we are having some more flavors. In the Linux itself we are having actually many flavors. Uh, that is we knows about the Red Hat, Fedora, Ubuntu, Puppy Linux. So many flavors are there. Nearly Hundreds of flavors are there in Linux environment. Here in Red Hat also we are having Red Hat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So now the people are using 8, and in the 8 point something they're using. In Fedora also we are having Fedora 1, 2, 3 like that. We are having many versions. In Ubuntu also, and Wabi Linux, Debian, Debian Linux. So many flavors are there in Linux itself. So in the Linux itself, we are having many flavors, and in each and every flavor, again some more versions are there. So if you take each and every flavors version, so there are many flavors, means mostly thousands of flavors will come to the Linux environment. So okay, here as I already told you, Solaris is also a flavor of Unix operating system only. Okay, this is also flavor of Unix. Here, this Solaris is the world's uh, best, means secured operating system. The best or secured operating system is Solaris. Okay, nothing else. So it is about the Linux environment and Unix we are talking. Okay, all these are the operating systems. Okay, don't think the Linux is operating system, Unix is programming. Okay, operating system. We are talking about operating system. Operating system means, do you know what is an operating system? What is an operating system? OS
Sir,
means it is an
okay.
yeah. Tell me.
Like uh, operating system means system which operates like the code what we wrote.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Mostly here
we
we'll
gave
be
input.
having hardware. User
Yeah.
wants to communicate with the hardware.
Okay,
So
sir.
if you want to communicate with the hardware, we cannot directly communicate with the hardware because the hardware language is the binary language, that is zeros and ones. The user language is high level language. High level language means our talking or speaking language we have. These are all the languages. So these high level languages cannot be understandable by the hardware, and this hardware binary language also it is too difficult to understand. That's why we need an interface. Here we need an interface called operating system. We need an interface called operating system. So through this interface, we'll communicate with the hardware. So this interface means the operating system, it can understand the language of hardware, and it can understand the language of user also. So the user can understand these high level language things, and those will be converted and will be sent to the hardware. Okay, so it can be means it must be able to understand both the language. So that's why it is an interface. Operating system an interface between user and hardware. Without operating system we cannot communicate with the hardware, we cannot make use of the computer. So let me ask you one more question here. So you knows about computer. So what is computer? What is computer?
Sure.
Computer, yeah,
Computer is a thing where like and this is like as like at what like what kind
yeah,
of definition?
yeah. The simple definition that it is an electronic device.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an
Okay, sir.
electronic device which takes the input
Input
and
and gives the
process that
output
input and gives the output.
out.
So this is a simple definition.
Okay.
So here, in order to perform, in order to take the input and process the input and gives the output, so it must contain. So without the hardware, we cannot do. And here also we are having operating system. So these two
Yes.
are needed for us. So is it the combination of here this operating system is nothing but a software. Okay, operating system is nothing but a software. Is it a computer is a software or a hardware? That's what I wanted to ask. Is the operating system is software or hardware? Is it software or hardware? You are having your laptop.
Hardware, sir.
Is it hardware or software? Yeah. So let me tell you, here it is a combination of both. Because without operating system, we cannot communicate with the hardware. We are talking
Okay.
about the full computer. That is, it will take the input. How it will take the input? So here we are using the keyboard or we are using touch screen. So it is nothing but the hardware we are using. But how this input will be read, that is with the help of software. How this input will process, the help of software and the help of hardware. And finally, that gives the output. Software needed. Not to display, we need the monitor. Hardware also needed. So that's why it is the combination of both software and hardware.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So it is these are the basic things about the operating system, computer, and Linux environment, and these are the flavors of uh, Unix. So Unix and Linux is the flavor of the Unix, and in the Linux itself, we are having many flavors. So these are all the operating systems. Is it fine? So many people doesn't know about all these. You must have the clarity. And moreover, why we are going for Linux environment? We are having the user-friendly operating system. Yeah, we are having the user-friendly operating system, that is Windows. We are having user-friendly operating system. Why we need to go for Linux? Here in our India, mostly our people will use Windows one. Even the illiterates also can operate the Windows operating system. So they won't go for Linux or Solaris or something IBM AX and HPX. They won't go for that. Windows is most friendly operating system. Here, if it is friendly means that will be less secure. Here, less security will be there. So if you take the security concept. So here we'll be having less security compared with Linux, less compared with the Linux. Okay, see how it is less compared with Linux. So it is in the form of password length also. We can have the much password length in Linux environment. Here the password will length will be somewhat less compared with that. And about viruses also, here only some hundreds of viruses are detected, are found in those are affecting Windows operating system. Very less viruses are affecting the Linux environment, that is below uh, below hundreds, below 100. Okay, so there are many problems in Windows operating system. So it is very secured operating system and very ఏమంటారు uh, efficient, very efficient than the Windows operating system. Efficient means we know if you open any process, if you are running 4 or 5 process at background, so in Windows operating system, sometimes the system will be hang. But whereas in Linux environment, we can run many process, some hundreds of process we can run at background with the same efficiency. Uh, those all the process will complete their task. Okay, so that is in the security related concepts and the performance related concepts. Performance related concepts. When it comes to cost related concepts also cost. So here this Linux is open source. But if you want to buy the full operating system of this Windows, so that will be somewhat cost. Okay. So whatever we are using, that is not a genuine Windows now. Means if you need the full server version or full version of this Linux, oh sorry, Windows, that will be somewhat cost. Nearly some 2 lakhs like that we need to pay based on the version. So here Linux, it is fully open source. You can take that and you can add some more libraries and you can modify that also. It is open source. Okay. So many things are there if we compare with other operating systems. Multi-users concepts. Multi-users concepts also there. So many users we can create in Linux environment, and all the users can be maintained their directories and their files, and separately we can manage them. Okay. Multitasking and multi-users concepts there also, this Linux is better. And if we compare with all other remaining operating systems, the Linux is somewhat better. Somewhat better means somewhat friendly. Uh, we can use it for networking purpose also. Networking. We can manage the users through the through the network, and we have the system administration. System administration is there actually. Network administration is there. These are the big courses, and the companies also there will be network administrators and system administrators. So the networking will be somewhat easier if we that is in the Linux environment. Okay, that's why most of the companies they are preferring Linux uh, as their server. Linux as a server. Okay, so that's why we are preferring Linux also. That is based on the uh, need, and you need how to learn this Linux also. So let us go with the architecture of Linux. Architecture of Linux. Let me share you one more screen. See the architecture. Here we'll be having the hardware, kernel part will be there, and the shell part and utilities means all other applications. Applications will be installed here in this environment. We know this hardware can understand only uh, the binary language, the low level language. So upon the hardware, the kernel will be placed. Here the kernel means most of the operating system. We know in order to operate a computer, in order to communicate with the hardware, so here we need some files. We need some software. So most of the operating system will be placed in the kernel environment. Kernel. So many libraries, many drivers, related softwares or programs, everything will be created and will be there in the kernel environment. Okay, this is the Linux architecture. See, upon the kernel, we will be having shell. Here, shell means we'll call it as users workspace. Users workspace. So, user can communicate with the kernel through shell also. Here we will be having in the shell environment, we will be having commands, shell commands. We will be having shell commands. With the help of shell commands, we'll communicate with the kernel. So the user can understand these shell commands, no problem. He can communicate with the kernel or the operating system through shell. And here the utilities means, for example, some offices. We are having LibreOffice. In Windows, we are having in Microsoft Office, the calculators. So many some games. So all the applications and utilities will be placed over here. We can operate them with the mouse and all. Here in this shell environment, we cannot operate with the mouse. So we have to use the CLI, command line interface only. So these utilities, that is GUI, graphical user interface. We can make use of the mouse and all. The graphics will be there. Then we can easily operate them. The shell environment, that is CLI, command line interface. We must give the input through the keyboard, the commands. With the commands only, it will work. Okay, there is a facility. So in this Linux environment, this shell will play the main role through the shell. So mostly the administrator, the system administrators, or the Linux programmers, the Linux people, those who are using, mostly they will communicate with the hardware through the shell environment. So we must be familiar with the shell environment. So we are going to learn that. Okay, this is a simple architecture of Linux environment. Okay, let me talk to you about Linux file structure. Linux file structure. So before going to this one, you must understand the Windows file structure. So here, if you use the Windows operating system, after installation, you will get some folders. That is Windows folder, some programs folder, users folder. Like that, some folders you will get. So here, also after the installation, we will get all these folders. Means we can call them as directories. So we have the same folders, but we will call them as directories. After the installation, here this slash represents a root directory, means root folder. Under the root folder, the slash represents a root directory. So under the root directory, all these subdirectories will be there after the installation. So these subdirectories like bin, dev, etc, home, lib, mnt. So many, that is based on the flavor of Linux. Based on the flavor of Linux, so many folders will be there. See, in this bin means most of our commands, the commands will be there in the bin directory, that is binary. Binary directory, most of our commands, uh, will be there, and this div means device related information will be here. etc means here we'll be having all script files. Some scripts will be there. You can see them later. And home directory, home. Here home directory, this is the default users home directory. Once we create a user, so if you create an user, that user will be, users folder will be created by default under home directory. Okay. Then some library files in the lib directory. MNT is a different temporary mount point. Here we are having different folders. Some folders are need to know. This is temp directory. S means this is a super binary. Super binary means here system related. Sometimes we can call it a system binary also. System users will be there. Other users will be there and system users will be there. System users commands will be here under the bin directory. Here root. This root means root user also there and root directory also there. This is the root directory. The slash represents root directory. This root means it is the users, that is root user. Root user means that is admin user, like admin user. Admin users directory it is. Root users directory. Okay. That root name is different and the slash also will be represented as root directory. And observe here this last one, USR, Unix source. Unix source will be here. USR directory. In this USR, here most of the line, this operating system files will be there. Operating system files will be there in USR. This bin directory and sbin directory will work through USR directories. So these are the directories after the installation. These will be available. So why I am telling means there we can open them whenever we need it. We are going to edit them. The real-time environment, the people they have to know this file structure. So they will be having many editings in the files. Here etc directory, here we'll be having uh, users information like username, that password, encrypted password will be there. So such information will be there. So many script files will be there in the etc directory. So this is some introduction about the Linux. This is the file structure. File structure. See, all the descriptions will be there. You can observe. Based on the flavor of the operating system, these folders will be there. But these are minimum. This is bin directory, etc, home, lib, then sbin, temp, USR, that root directory. These will be there surely. So this is this OPT means all third-party softwares or packages we can install them under this. So this is about the file structure of Linux environment. Here, let me show you the Linux terminal itself. Observe here.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
just give me a minute. I'll just go to the restroom and be back.
Okay, okay. So we know about the Linux environment. This is a Linux shell environment. See here, I will show you the file structure again. I'll explain all these commands and all later. Just you see the file structure. Till now we have seen. So these are the files directories after the installation we'll get. Observe here, this slash represents you are under the root directory. Under the root directory, all the files, these directories are available. See, in bin directory, we'll be having commands. That's what I told you. It's a temporary directory. After reboot, all the files whatever we kept there will be removed, will be deleted. System binary. Whenever we connect some media like pen drive like that, if we connect them, those will be available here in this directory. Okay, so if you want, I will show you some uh, files under the directories. So see, I'm opening. See, in the bin directory, all these commands will be there. Whatever the commands you're going to learn, that is normal user commands or administrator commands, all will be available here. All will be available. Okay. All the commands you can see. Okay, under the bin we are having all these commands. So next, under the etc directory also we'll be having files. Here these commands, this cd and all the commands and all I'll teach you tomorrow. Under etc we'll be having all the script files. All the script files will be available here. So you can view page by page also, like ls pipeline, some more page by page. Use space bar, will list out page by page. Any commands, whatever the commands, sorry, script files here and all. And for example, here I told you about password related and the users um, information will be here. So the files like password file, it will hold the users information, only users information. You can see here users information. Let me take see here, for example, root user name, and actually it is a link to password. Password file will not hold the password information, it will hold the only users basic information, and that users id and group id, that directory users directory will be there, and the commands which are available for that user. Under the bin, whatever the commands are there, bash commands can be executed. Such information will be here. So these are all some system users. These are all some system users. These are all some system users. See, I have created an user. I have created redhat user and Linux user. 3 users I have created. Up to 999 IDs the system will use. From 1000 onwards, it is giving the IDs for us. So up to 999, the IDs will be reserved for the system purpose, and from 1000 onwards, it is allocating IDs for the users. System user ID. So some information now maintained. So that will keep. Okay. And here we saw only for password file. So here in this password file, only users information will be there. We are having a file called shadow. Shadow. In this shadow, we are having passwords information. It is denied. Do you know why the permission denied? Because here it is a normal user. Dollar represents a normal user with the basic utilities, command utilities. So that's why some system administrator related commands will be there. These regular users cannot make use of such facilities. So that's why we can list out. Sometimes we cannot edit the shadow file. They are not permitting to list out also. So that's why here dollar represents a normal user with some facilities. So we are having, I'll show you, switch user su space hyphen or switch user root, switch to root. Here it will ask password. Observe here now what it is showing. Hash. Hash represents root user or admin user. So we'll have all facilities. We can do whatever we want here. So this dollar represents normal user. All commands will be available. Such operations that user can. If you want to switch to the root or root privileged users, sometimes we'll give that root permission to some different users also. So such people also, they can perform some operations which the root user can perform. Okay, this hash represents it is a privileged user or root user. Now we are in the etc only. Now I'll execute that command. Cat space shadow. Shadow. See, you can see actually star represents encrypted passwords will be here. Observe here for this root, I'm having encrypted password up to here. This is a password of the root which is encrypted. It is encrypted. There in the password file, we can see the user's information. That is 7 fields of user information. Here we'll be having, I think, 9 fields. Here 9 fields of information will be. And see the password of this Red Hat and this Linux Red Hat user I have created. See the password, how much it is up to here. Password, encrypted password will be here. We cannot understand. Okay, so such information will be maintained in the shadow file. So this is some information which I'm telling you about the file system and all. CD space root. We are talking about the file system. This bin directory for all commands we have seen. Here script files will be there. Okay, system binary, and here most of the operating system will be here in the 90% operating system related files will be here in the USR directory. See, I'll show you home directory. Home, HOME, home. you can see users home directories. The users which I have created, Red Hat, Linux, and Linux. Some users I have created. The users folders, the home directories. Red Hat home directory is this Red Hat. So let me show you Red Hat. You can see the Red Hat related file. And here we are having linux.txt. You can see Linux. So yeah, last time when we had the introduction, there then we have typed all these. Okay, so such information we will be having. This is Red Hat directory coming out, and in the Linux also. This is Linux users home directory. Nothing is here. And if you want to open the Linux also, it is actually username which I have created, not by default. This username. Okay, so this is users home directory. So under this home directory, we'll be having all users which we have created. So that path by default that will be in the home. Specifically, if you want to keep that directory, the users directory here in the
Sir.
root itself, we can keep that. No problem.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
generally, if we just click CD and then ls, the directories will appear, no, sir. These all directories are from all three things what you introduced, are like only just one call, like these Linux and Linus Red Hat are there, no, sir.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
my question is, if we just click this ls, all these directories are from like any of one particular from those three, or like all three things?
Actually, ls these commands and all I will teach you tomorrow. ls
Okay, sir.
means the listing of the files and directories which are there in the current directory.
ఓకే.
Okay.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ
Uh,
డైరెక్టరీస్ అన్ని ఒక రెడ్ హ్యాట్ లేకపోతే లైనక్స్ లేకపోతే లినక్స్ సార్, లేకపోతే అన్నిటికీ కలిపి అన్నిట్లో ఉన్నవన్నీ వచ్చినాయా? అది నా క్వశ్చన్.
Here I have installed the Red Hat Linux only.
ఓకే.
In the Red Hat itself, server version will be there. In the server version, here I have installed the server version. So many of the packages will be installed.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay, that's why here the directories are common, but in the USR directory, only some packages only will be installed.
ఓకే సార్.
If I take the server version, all the packages will be installed. So if
Okay,
you
sir.
want to reduce some, they will give some options and all. If you want only command prompt, you don't want the graphics. So the graphic things will not be installed in the USR directory.
ఓకే సార్.
So here for some Red Hat, these are the folders or directories we are getting.
ఓకే సార్.
Mostly all other operating systems also, the basic directories are these only.
ఓకే సార్.
The basic directories.
ఓకే సార్. అంటే
The
సార్ లైక్
mostly, yeah, I have seen the Fedora. Even I have seen the CentOS, that is also Linux flavor.
ఓకే సార్.
This Ubuntu. So mostly these are all same.
ఓకే సార్.
The graphics are somewhat different, and the Unix commands, whatever I am telling, the Unix commands, the ls, some commands I am using now. These Unix commands are same in each and every environment,
ఓకే సార్.
because in every operating this Linux flavor, I told you the Unix commands will be there. The Unix commands are common. When it comes to the system administration means creating user and managing some memory, installing some other applications with the help of commands. That time the commands will be changed. So the basic commands, that is file creation, file moving, file copying, file removing. For all these, we will use the Unix environment. The Unix commands are common in each and every environment, that Linux environment. So, is it fine, Jishnu?
Yes, sir. ఇప్పుడు
So,
నాకు
yeah, tell
I'm
me.
having one question. Like when I open my college server
Okay.
in Linux, when I just click ls listing the listing sort like listing directories, I won't get all these stuff, sir.
Yeah. That's why I have shown you the file structure. This root
Okay.
directory access will not be there in all the environments. See,
Okay.
here I am telling you root slash. Actually,
Okay.
by default, what I will get, So by default, I will show you. So here Red Hat is my user, which I have created, Red Hat. So under the Red Hat, by default, when I open my command prompt, the user will be open. The user related directories, all these will be there.
Okay,
Can
sir.
you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, these will be there. And moreover, if you want to switch some Linux, also a basic user have created Linux 123. So it is also normal user. See here, by default you won't get anything. See, mostly in your college you'll get this prompt only, isn't it? Either this prompt or the previous prompt. The basic folders will be there, otherwise nothing will be there. So for like this, we will create the users. For example, we are having a command called user add Jishnu, JSHNU, Jishnu. Adding a user. It is a normal user, so I'm creating. So it is not accepting. I'll switch to root. I'll create now. Here it is our own server. That's why we can switch and we can move, and whatever we want we can do.
Okay, sir.
College they won't give the access for us.
Yes, sir.
Switch here I'm adding user add. This is the admin command. That's why I'm using here root user. I'm using hash. It is showing admin user. This user is created. I'm creating password also.
Okay, sir.
Password for Jishnu. Will prompt. I'm giving Vishnu 123. I'm using.
Okay, sir.
See that is prompting also. Okay, no problem. It will take updated tokens update. So it has created Jishnu. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now I can switch to Jishnu from the regular user itself. Switch user to JSHNU. Jishnu. It will ask the prompt password GISHNU 123. See, it is not showing the password strength. Can you see?
Yes,
Whatever
sir.
the password I am typing here, that won't show you there.
Hmm.
It is
Then, sir,
also
like even
one of the
the
security
yes,
related
sir.
concept. Yeah.
Even my college server doesn't show us the password, sir.
Yeah. So sometimes here the command prompt that will show you the graphical GUI mode that will show you the dots.
Okay,
See,
sir.
I have given the password, so it has logged in. Okay. Now, a simple. Now I am checking LS. Nothing is there in Vishnu. So sometimes the basic folders, that is download folder, such folders will be here. Okay. The basic folders I will show you the Red Hat itself. If it is a system regular user, the basic folders will be there: desktop, documents, downloads, music, picture, public, templates, and videos. Okay. Sometimes these basic folders will be created, otherwise nothing will be created. Okay. Empty
Yes.
files means some hidden files will be there that won't show you. I think hidden files, so for that purpose we'll use some other command. I'll teach you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And this password strength related, for example, here I'm using GISHNU. I'm switching it to here. If I give the wrong password GISHNU, sometimes see, observe here, given wrong password here, wrong password. While typing, I wanted to clear whatever I have typed.
Okay, sir.
It's not possible to clear. We can't use backspace. Just I am using, just I am typing. Jishnu123 is actually password. I am simply typing 123. I have typed 123. Now I wanted to clear. How can I clear? We have to use Control U. Control U. If you use Control U, that will be cleared. Whatever we type, then we can type freshly GISHNU123. Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's it. Control U means that will undo, that will clear whatever we have typed.
Yes, sir.
So this is some basic information. Is it fine today? So, and today I'm giving you a task that
Okay.
just you go through the file system structure and some basic commands. How can we communicate with the Linux
Okay, sir.
environment?
Okay, sir.
Okay, this is a small task. Just I wanted to give you.
Okay, sir.